Let me show you the scene that proves why Ana de Armas belongs in the John Wick universe. Okay, the real question when going into, from the world of John Wick, Ballerina, I get why they have to do that. You gotta have the name. You gotta have the man to hook the people into this universe spin-off film. Was Keanu Reeves' John Wick needed? No, but am I glad he showed up for a bit? Yes. Let's just start with that. John Wick's presence in this movie is felt in the first act, but primarily in the third act. If you are thinking you are going to get 25 minutes, 30 minutes of John Wick, you will be severely disappointed. He has about probably 10 minutes of screen time, probably even less. But when he's on screen, the director and writer make it count. His fight scenes, as expected, are top-notch, and I especially love the back-and-forth nature between Eve and John. Their fight scene, they pay respect to the king, John Wick. I'll tell you that. One thing that has me puzzled with the film is I know it takes place between the events of John Wick 3 and 4, and there is a bit of a time jump that happens near the end of the first act. I get it. He is in healing mode. I'm just trying to figure out how he can get into a specific location without revealing too much in a very short amount of time. Kind of want to go back to the films and check on that. I'm not saying it's a movie sin or whatever. It just left me feeling a little, that seems realistic. But that word, realistic, we don't believe in such a thing when it comes to the John Wick movies. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Now, if you have John Wick, you're probably thinking his action scene is the standout, and you're waiting for that moment to happen, and he does have some moments. However, the real standout is the star, Ana de Armas, as Eve. She brings a fierce physicality to every action sequence and really commands the screen. The movie takes a bit of time of going, that's within the first act, and her execution in certain sequences does come across a little choppy at times. Not all the time, but there are moments that made me go, this is the best take they could have gotten. The emotion is there, but sometimes the impact is lessened by how it's delivered. Still, I'm not expecting a John Wick, yet alone a spin-off film, to have Oscar-worthy dialogue. No. I'm here for the action. Now, for the first act, it does take some time to build up momentum. However, the opening sequence to this film does a great job of you buying into the motivation of Eve's quest for vengeance. And once we say goodbye to that arc, we move into the second and third act, and it never lets up. It just keeps on going as Eve goes from one location to another in a very organic way for the plot. Along the way, she bumps into people that shape her journey. One of them being Norman Reedus, who is just a complete BA in this film. Still, I wish he had a bit more time on screen because genuinely did not know what they were going to do with his character, and I absolutely loved what they were going for. On Eve's perspective, meeting this character, it actually does build upon everything that we know about her, and it feels a bit more personal when you realize what is actually happening with Norman Reedus. Now, is it a little melodramatic? Sure, but I'm here for it. When I heard who was directing it, yes, they've done the original Underworld, that's a guilty pleasure, but other projects that were some great, some not so great. It's also written by the guy who helped in previous John Wick films and also helped great classics like Rebel Moon, Part 1 and Part 2. Putting that aside, the people behind this movie do a great job of bringing what we want, and that is action done with lots of different items. I'm talking roller skates, I'm talking a meat grinder, I'm talking a katana, grenades, etc. Ana de Armas' Eve goes for everything in this film. Anything that she can grab, she will attack someone with it. I'm talking a hammer, talking roller skates, talking about grenades, talking about katanas, talking about flamethrowers. Those last two, look out for those moments. Standouts. About 70% of this movie is pure action. If that gets you fired up, you are going to have a great time with this movie. There are rumors that reshoots were done because the studio lacked faith in the film and they wanted to fluff up the movie with a bit more action. Well, I'm going to read this article from the director of this film to clear up some of that space. He said, the studio saw the film, loved the film, and we had to cut out some of the action sequences from the original script just because we couldn't fit them in the schedule. So once they saw the movie and really believed in it, they were like, why don't we take a look at bringing those sequences back in? So a large part of what we shot was what was in the script originally. Now this part is true. Chad Stahelski, one of the original directors of the John Wick films, came back to direct these additional scenes, and this is what director of Ballerina had to say about that. The rumors are rumors. I've known Chad for a long time, and I got sick. I had a health scare, so I had to take off for a couple of weeks to go to the hospital, and so he covered the scenes that we were working on, and kind of thank God that he was there with the team for that. And then after my stay in the hospital, I jumped back in, but that's actually what the personal story is. Now, whether this article is telling the truth or not, I understand the perspective of you wouldn't want to talk negatively about a project that, one, you made, and two, for a studio that is banking on this to make a lot of money. Just wanted to bring up that clarity because I know there's been some discussion about it. Now, speaking of additional scenes, the runtime for this film, I believe, is 2 hours and 5 minutes, and that's not terribly long, but genuinely I felt like the movie actually could have been edited down just like a hair. 10 to 15 minutes would have found that smooth pace for the ride. When the film does try to slow down and dig into its emotional core, it doesn't really land for me. There's an arc about family and certain reveals that happen that is genuinely melodramatic. Where they end up with that arc and they never really return back to it and the meaning for it, especially for the character of Eve, it was just like a moment of, hey, I guess here you go. Weirdly, in a negative, like I said, but now positive way for this issue, the movie quickly moves on and goes back to what you're here for, the action. Overall, Ballerina, it's a surprising and solid entry in the Wick universe. I had a great time with this one, and if the John Wick universe is heading into this direction, I am all in. Solid 8 out of 10. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this review. It really means a lot. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, but most of all, do not forget to be blessed.